Hello students, welcome to the previous year question series of Enest. In this video, we will be discussing the questions which came in previous year, that was CUET 2025 SCQP12 Food Science and Technology exam. We have already posted 4 videos in this series in which we have discussed total 60 questions which came in last year's exam. In this video, we will be further discussing the next 15 questions, and this is the last part of this series. Keep watching the video. I am Divyanshu Gupta, your mentor for Food Science and Technology, and let's proceed with the next question. Hyperbaric storage represents storage at, and the options are low pressure, high pressure, low pressure and high humidity, and low pressure and low humidity. So question is right, options are perfect, but the way in which the question is framed, choose the most appropriate. If we go for A and B, low pressure and high pressure. Now hypo word means low and baric means pressure. So technically hypobaric means low pressure. So you cannot go for low and high altogether. Then if you go for C only, that represents low pressure and high humidity. Okay. If you go for A, B, C and D, that means all four, which is also technically not possible. And if you go for B, C and D, that is high pressure, low pressure, high humidity, low pressure and low humidity, that is also technically not possible. So this makes C only, that is low pressure and high humidity, as the most appropriate option in this question. Also, in hypobaric storage, foods are stored under reduced atmospheric pressure. It is also called as low pressure storage and used to slow down the ripening of fruits and vegetables which continue to ripen even after they are harvested. Then humidity conditions can also be varied during the low pressure storage depending on the design of system and the fruit or vegetables particular requirement. But the defining feature in this technology is low pressure. So always remember, hypobaric pressure means low pressure, and hyper, when people say that you have become hyper, that means it is very high. Okay, so hyperbaric means high pressure and hypobaric means low pressure. So I hope the option was clear to all of you. Let's proceed on with the next question. Bananas usually get spoiled due to chilling injury when stored at the temperature. Options are less than 12 degrees Celsius, less than 18 degrees Celsius, less than 15 degrees Celsius, and less than 21 degrees Celsius. Now we all know, we have often seen in the markets as well, that bananas are stored under slightly low temperature. But if you store them at a very low temperature, you will get chill injury on the surface, and that temperature is exactly less than 12 degrees Celsius. That is why the temperature of the refrigerated containers or the environment in which the bananas are stored is usually kept near to 12, 13 and 14, but it is usually more than 12. It is never less than 12, so that the surface is not showing any defect. Now symptoms of chill injury could be your peel browning, or it could be poor ripening, as well as pitting and off flavor. Okay, so first is the right option for this question. Proceeding on to the next question. The rate of food spoilage is not dependent on. So it is particularly asking about the extrinsic or intrinsic parameters which are defining the spoilage of a food item. Now if you talk about water activity particularly emphasizes how the spoilage of the rate of food will be. If the food is having high moisture, obviously high rate of spoilage. If the food is having very low moisture, then low rate of spoilage. Package size, oxidation reduction potential, yes, it influences, and temperature also influences. So if you store a food at a very low temperature, the spoilage is less. But if you store the food within danger zone, that is 4 degrees Celsius to 60 degrees Celsius, then the food will spoil very fast. That is why package size is something which will never affect the rate of food spoilage in a particular food item. Okay, so I hope the right option was clear to all of you. Then next question. The alkali treatment of cocoa to enhance its color and flavor is known as French, Dutch, enrobing and tempering. Now these two are not the right option, enrobing and tempering, because these two are other methods of producing food item. Tempering is for chocolate and enrobing is also there for confectionery item as well. French process and Dutch process. This is the main confusing part of the question. Answer is, first of all, the Dutch process. Now in this process, you increase the alkalinity. That means you make the cocoa powder slightly basic by treating them with particular salts such as K2CO3, that is potassium carbonate, or Na2CO3, that is sodium carbonate. This will increase their pH and improve their color, flavor and stability. So this process of treating the cocoa powder is also represented as Dutch process, or it is also called as Dutching in the short term. I hope the option was clear. Now, for any student who is preparing for the exam and they are not sure how to prepare for the exam, there is a very short time left for the exam and they actually don't know which things to refer for, right? Because your exam is on 18th March and it is a very less time left for the exam. So for those students, we have launched a crash course. In that we will be provided sectional test, full length test, notes, one-on-one conversation with the mentors to clarify all your doubts which are related to your CUET exam. If you are watching this video before 18th March, you can join our crash course for the above said advantages. If you are watching this video after 18th March, that means you are preparing for 2027 exam. In that case, you can join our regular batch, in which we will be starting the batch at nearly August to March, and we will be discussing each and every topic which is coming in your syllabus of food science and technology. There will be one-on-one conversation with the mentors. Along with that, we will be providing full length notes. You don't need to refer to any other book after going through our notes. All your doubts will be cleared on a regular basis. Okay, so if you are interested in joining our batch, you can contact the number given on the screen and be very happy to get you on board with that. Okay, so let's proceed with the next question. This is from packaging. Examples of active packaging include. So when I discussed the first question of this series, in that it was about I think oxygen scavengers. Yes, so active packaging I discussed at that point. Active packaging tells that there is a active substance or a chemical which is present in the package and which will chemically react with the constituents of the package environment and do something irreversible or reversible in order to increase the shelf life of the food item. Now MAP does not come under the active packaging, because in MAP you already fix the composition of the gas inside the package environment. But in ethylene scavenger, antioxidant release film and moisture absorbers, the system is continuously reacting. In ethylene scavengers, they continue to scavenge ethylene from the package environment. Antioxidant release system continues to release antioxidants in the package environment, and moisture absorbers will continue to remove H2O, that is water vapor, from the package environment. So B, C and D, that is option number 4 is the right option for this question. If we talk about ethylene scavenger, where are they used? They are used in slowing the ripening of fruits, specifically climatic fruits such as banana, avocado. Then if you talk about moisture absorbers, they are used to prevent condensation and agglomeration in powders. Whenever you have brought a powdered food item, you will often find a small sachet kept inside it, and that sachet is of silica, which removes the water vapor from the package environment. And if we talk about antioxidant release system, they continue to release antioxidants such as vitamin E, ascorbic acid or other chemical antioxidants into the package environment to prevent the rate of oxidation from increasing. Okay, so I hope the options were clear to you in this question. The answer was 4th, B, C and D. Next question. A type of freezing where resistance to heat transfer is minimized due to intimate contact between food or package and refrigerant. That means the package or the food will be in direct contact with the refrigerant. This type of freezing is specifically referred to as immersion freezing. In this you will be having a cryogenic liquid or any refrigerant in which you will be dipping your food item. So from all the surface your food will be getting enough amount of heat transfer irrelevant of the shape of the food item. Okay, direct contact with the refrigerant will increase the rate of freezing and high heat transfer coefficient will be maintained, which will end up in resulting faster freezing, small ice crystals and better texture of your food item. Third is the right option for this question. Coming to the next question. The color permitted in cheddar cheese as per FSS Act 2006 is Now, when we were discussing about, I think in the last video or probably the last video, I told you that Bixa aureliana seeds are used to color the cheese and butter, and the compound is specifically referred as annatto. First is the right option for this question. Let's go to the next question. This question has covered ingredients for bread manufacture and the role of ingredients. One way we have shortening, yeast, sugar and flour, and opposite side we have texture, flavor, low volume and fermentation substrate. Now, if you talk about the texture of any bread is specifically because of the type of flour being used. If the flour is hard wheat flour, the texture will be good. If the flour is soft wheat flour, the texture will be crumbly. So flour provides base of the bakery product and it specifically affects the texture of your food item. Shortening has a very prominent effect on the flavor. For example, you are using any type of butter, so your bread will also be having a very good flavor of butter. But if you use margarine, it will be almost flavorless. If you use any other shortening, let's say cocoa butter or palm oil, that will specifically be prominent in the flavor of the bread. If you talk about yeast will help in CO2 production, which will particularly increase the low volume. And sugar acts as a fermentation substrate. That means microbes use sugar as a food to grow and ultimately produce CO2, alcohol and other substances which will contribute to the end structure of the bread. If we match the option, A goes for 2, B goes for 3, C goes for 4 and D goes for 1. That is, first is the right option for this question. Coming to the next question. Sequentially arrange the following steps involved in the manufacturing of cheddar cheese. Now in manufacturing of cheddar cheese, first of all we'll be doing, let's first of all see the options: standardization, preheating, addition of starter culture and pasteurization. These are the steps in the incorrect order of your manufacturing of your cheese. You have to arrange them in the correct order. Standardization, preheating, addition of starter culture and pasteurization. First of all, we always do standardization. That means you will control the SNF, fat, protein and carbohydrate present in the food item depending on the type of food you want to make. Then you will be doing preheating so that the food does not have very drastic effect in the pasteurizer, or if you ever do any type of temperature gradient shift. That means if the food is at 4 degrees Celsius and you want to make it at 72 degrees Celsius, you cannot subject it directly to 72. Protein will denature. Or if your food is at a high temperature, you will not make it suddenly drop out at a very low temperature. There should be gradual reduction in the temperature. It should not be instantaneous. So always a preheating step is done or a pre-cooling step is done. Obviously for pasteurization preheating and for chilling pre-cooling. Okay. Then you will be doing pasteurization, because after preheating there is always pasteurization. And then you will be doing addition of starter culture. Followed by that you will let it curdle. You will sieve it, separate the water, separate the solids, and then you will press it. If the cheese is ripened, then you will subject it to ripening. And if the cheese is to be consumed fresh, you will make it available in the packed form. Okay. So if we see the option A, B, D and C, that is first is the right option for this question. Coming to the next, which of the following process for development of cocoa mass follows the sequence? That means you have to arrange the production of cocoa mass in the correct order. I think one more question was there in this series in which we discussed the nibs. Okay, so you have seen that 2 questions have come this time, obviously last time, from your cocoa process. First of all, you have the fresh cocoa beans which you will be subjecting to fermentation so that the outside mucilage is converted into liquid, so it is easier to clean it. Then you will subject it to cleaning and roasting. After this you will subject it to breaking and winnowing. and followed by the last step, which is your milling. So D, B, C and A. Let's see which option is the right. D, B, C and A. Second is the right option for this question. Now during fermentation of the bean, the flavor precursors will also be developed. During the cleaning and roasting step, the development of aroma and moisture removal will take place. That means aromatic compounds will be formed during the roasting. Also the moisture of the end grain bean will be reduced. During the breaking and winnowing process, the shells are removed and you obtain the cocoa nibs. When you mill them, you will get cocoa liquor, which will be further subjected to pressing to extract the butter, and then the cake will be received. When you subject the cake to extreme grinding, which is called as pulverization, that is very fine grinding, you will get cocoa powder. So second is the right option for this question. Now, if any student who is going through this video has any doubt in any of the questions which were explained in this video, you can always comment down your queries, or you can contact the number given on the screen, and we will be very happy to clarify any of your doubt which are subjected to this CUET 2025 exam. Also, if you want to ask any question related to your CUET, NIN, CFTRI as well as GATE, you can always join our batch, or you can contact us regarding any query which you are having in joining or related to your exam, related to the process of application. Okay, so any student who is having any doubt related to any of the topic of food can always contact us, and we will be very happy to clarify their doubts. Then coming to the 71st question in the exam, what does the term JECFA stands for? So JECFA, I have told many number of times that stands for Joint Expert Committee on Food Additives. This is a committee set up by FAO and WHO, and it deals with the screening and evaluation of food additives. Okay, so Joint Expert Committee on Food Additives, that is first is the right option for this question. Coming to the next, you have bakery products and their properties. So biscuit, cracker, hard dough biscuit and soft dough biscuit, and this side you have their property, whether they are low sugar, low fat, flat and crisp, partially developed gluten and fluido. So biscuit is something which is a flat and crisp product. If you talk about cracker, cracker is having low sugar and fat. Cracker is almost dry and it is containing very low sugar and very low fat. If we talk about the hard dough biscuit, gluten, and in the soft dough biscuit you have fluido, because it contains high sugar and fat. Okay, so if we go with the right options which we have matched, A for 2, B for 1, C for 3, D for 4. So first is the right option for this question. Coming to the next, synthesis or weeping is a defect found in. So when we were discussing about the processing of your fruits, in that section there was a topic of jam and jelly. In that I told that when jelly loses water, it is called as synersis, that is crying of jelly. It will look as if the jelly is crying because the water will be coming out from the jelly. So it is a defect found in jelly, and it is often found in the desserts which are made through gelatin. It will cause because of excess acid in the jelly, low sugar in the jelly, improper cooking of the jelly, or weak pectin network. When we discussed about the jam and jelly topic, I told you that for the setting of a very good jam or jelly, you always need 3 important ingredients: sugar, acid and pectin. These 3 are important for the making of a good jelly. Then coming to the next question, we have the major microorganism responsible for the food infection transmitted through eggs is. Now we often discuss for the food handlers that salmonella toxication is most prominent through eggs, because on the surface of the egg you have the intestinal bacteria of your hen. So salmonella is the major microorganism which is transmitted through eggs via improper handling, and it is majorly because of contamination on the surface of the egg as well as because of poultry intestinal tract. Okay, so second is the right option for this question. Coming to the last question of this CUET 2025 paper, you have the irradiation dose and the objective. You can also get a question what it is referred to as radicization, radorization, radapatization, like that. Okay, that can also be a way in which questions are asked. So one side we have been given irradiation dose in kilogram, 0.05, 0.15, 35 to 60, 3 to 13 and 1 to 5. I told you during the classes that 1 to 5 is often used to low treatment and 5 to 10 is often referred to as a high treatment, and above than 10 it is a very high treatment. It will lead to complete sterilization. So 0.05 to 0.15 will affect the inhibition of sprouting in the food items. That means it will denature enzymes to some extent, so they will not be able to work, and ultimately sprouting will not take place in that food item. If we talk about 35 to 60, it is due to sterilization of food. So if you give a very high treatment of irradiation, that is 35 to 60, it is specifically used for sterilization of not even food, for medical equipments. Then 3 to 13 is for elimination of specific pathogens in the food, because pathogens require a higher dose treatment than sprouting. In sprouting you just have to damage the enzyme. In pathogen elimination you have to increase the dose. As the organism loses the ability to reproduce, also it dies. 1.1 to 0.5 is for insect disinfestation. Okay, so let's match the option. A goes for 3, B goes for 4, C goes for 1 and D goes for 2. So option 2 is the right option in this question. I hope all the options were clear and the explanation was also understood as well. So that was all for the CUET 2025 paper. In this series we discussed all the 75 questions which came last year. We will be further posting some more videos which are helpful for you for your exam. You can follow us on all these social media handles to get regular updates about the information which we post on them. They are usually related to your jobs, exams, various admissions, also some current affairs which are related to the food industry, which you should know as a food technology student. That was all from our side. Thank you for watching our video. That was all from Enest, and you can join any of our batches. We have a complete portfolio of all the courses which are available for food technology students, let it be at the bachelor's level, let it be at the master's level, or even for the PhD admissions, because GATE also we are offering. So all the best for your exam. Share this video to your friends which are preparing for your CUET exam or for any other food technology exam, because in food the questions are always quite similar. Okay, and all the best for your exam. Do perfect answers logically on 18th of March. We'll meet again in any of the other series. Thank you for watching.